Hello, Vikas ji.
Hello, welcome all of you.
विकास जी आवाज
सेकेंड टेक्निकल सेशन फाइनेंशियल प्लानिंग एंड पूंजी स्कीम में आपका स्वागत है। अमित वर्मा, आप मेरी आवाज सुन पा रहे हैं?
जी
अमित वर्मा सर,
आपकी आवाज सर स्टार्ट कर दे सर। विकास जी शुरू करें।
हाँ शुरू करिए, स्टार्ट करिए अमित जी।
जी वेरी गुड आफ्टरनून टू ऑल ऑफ यू in day 1 second technical session of 2 days national webinar conducted by Government College OBRA Sonbhadra Uttar Pradesh in association with Indian Accounting Association Mirzapur branch. I am Dr. Amit Verma, lecturer in Department of Commerce, Vedyas Mahavidyalaya, Rourkela, Odisha. This is my privilege and honor to welcome respected Chief Patron Dr. Sharma, Director, Higher Education, Uttar Pradesh. I also welcome our patron, Dr. Pramod Kumar, Principal Government PG College OBRA, Sonbhadra, Uttar Pradesh. I also welcome our keynote speaker, Shri Suryakant Sharma ji. He is our keynote speaker. Suryakant Sharma ji, I want to give a brief introduction of our keynote speaker. Suryakant Sharma ji is a commerce graduate and master's in law, and his specialization is corporate law. He is also a chartered associate of Indian Institute of Banking and Finance. Shri Sharma ji has over 20 years experience in banking and finance and other leading financial institutions. He is also from Department of Financial Services, Finance. Shri Suryakant Sharma ji joined TABI in 2003 and served there for more than 15 years. Lastly, he was Deputy General Manager in charge of Office of Investor Awareness and Education in TABI Northern Region for more than 5 years. Under his supervision, more than 15,000 investor awareness programs were conducted across North India, and he himself has addressed as guest speaker in more than 500 IAPs. After his superannuation from TABI in 2019, Sir has joined Association of Mutual in India, known as AMFI, an apex body of mutual fund in India, as senior consultant of India. I welcome you. Our another
कितने दिन हो गए टीवी देखते हुए, रोज देखना है, सोता है कभी?
figure, Sri Lalit Sharma is graduated from Delhi University and he obtained his master's from Symbiosis, Pune in marketing. Shri Lalit Sharma ji has around 17 years of experience in managing financial operation, training management, and client experience management. He has been associated with top Indian private banks, insurance company, and asset company at various positions with customer orientation as a core area of specialization. Currently, Sir is working as a uh, zonal manager in Birla Sun Life AMC Limited as Investor Education Distributor Development North. Sir, I welcome you in this technical session. Apart from the keynote speaker, I also welcome our distinguished participants and other members. I again welcome you all in such august gathering. In second technical session, which will focus on financial planning and Ponzi schemes, to throw lights on various aspects on these things, I invite Shri Suryakant Sharma ji to address this gathering. Sir, are you there?
हाँ अमित जी, अमित
हेलो
जी, हेलो।
सर। हाँ, विकास जी बताइए।
सूर्यकांत शर्मा जी, अभी 2 मिनट लगेगा।
हाँ
आप
विकास जी
ललित शर्मा
बताइए।
सर को इनवाइट करिए तब तक।
जी जी।
ललित सर, आवाज सुन रहे
आई
हैं?
आई वुड लाइक टू रिक्वेस्ट सलीश शर्मा।
हेलो।
हेलो।
हाँ जी, मैं
आई
हूँ यहाँ
वुड
पे।
लाइक टू रिक्वेस्ट आई would like to sir, I would like to welcome you.
थैंक यू
You
सो
are
मच।
a national figure and dynamic personality, and we are very fortunate that we have such type of personality in our webinar. So definitely we and participants, definitely they will gain something from you, sir. Sir, sir, kindly address with your kind words this gathering, sir.
Thank you so much, Amit ji and Vikas ji, for providing us the opportunity. And privilege is all ours, to address such, high reputed forum on the, we would definitely love to share our perspective on current financial affairs, as well as, the topic which has been assigned to me today is financial planning. So, Vikas ji, would I be able to share the screen, because I've created a small presentation, so I would like to go through that. So,
ओके ओके
would I be able to share it?
ओके। सुनील जी, देखिए शेयर का ऑप्शन दीजिए सर को। यस सर।
बोलिए करें।
So, okay, I'm just going to my screen. One second. So, is this screen visible to everyone?
यस सर, कंटिन्यू।
Okay, thank you so much. So, see, the idea today is to, share the learnings from COVID-19, because, most of us, when going through this troubled times and this crisis, this pandemic, which has actually affected more than 30 lakhs people world over. And India is also not immune, and so is our financial markets are not immune to this. And we've been looking at the market for some time, and for the retail investors, especially the audience today, I have 5 main learnings from our various experiences which we have gone through. So I would like to share some of them, and in the end I would also like to give a little bit of steps how to how all of you can actually prepare a good financial plan for yourself. At the same time, we also need to be aware of our financials, aware of our conditions. At the same time, I would also like to wish a very good health to all of you, and of course with the very good health we will all be able to get very good wealth. So the first learning which I would like to talk about today is savings are not investments. This clear demarcation has to happen, because most of the times when we interact with the investors at large, what we have found out is people are not very clear about what is savings and what is investments. And since it is not being clearly demarcated, people normally get to take irrational decisions, and sometimes panic based decisions during especially these times like COVID-19. Savings, I would like to throw little light on savings. The savings is just the accumulation of money which you save out of your monthly expenses or whichever expenses you meet during the month. So you get money as your income from various sources, and you spend as the natural impact of receiving money, and whichever is left is your savings. So basically savings is the money which is available to you whenever you want to spend it. And if it gets a little bit of growth, that growth is out of regular accumulation of similar or different amounts of money together. So that makes your savings. At the same time, when we call it investments, you put some part or some proportion of your savings into some instruments which has the capability to grow in future. And that instrument or that asset class can be anything. It can be gold, it can be real estate, it can be shares, it can be fixed deposits of a bank, or it can be mutual funds. So anything which has the capability to grow in its value without much of accumulation, to grow its value in future, it's called investment. So this clear demarcation has to happen, because until unless we demarcate our savings or our financial wealth into these two categories, it will be very difficult for us to gauge the current status and to take the right kind of investment decisions. So this is really the first lesson which we have learned through COVID, that we cannot mix the two. These two things has to be separated, and the savings is the one which actually meet your contingency planning and actually meet the emergency funding. So this is the learning number one. Learning number two is diversify your investment. I mean, now diversification is something which is very common in the financial world, and most of us are aware of this diversification is. But the rule is that how diversify are. I mean, is it under diversified, or is it over diversified, or it is usually diversified? So I will give common example from the financial markets of today. If we look at last 1 year's return from the Sensex, it is down by 26 to 30%. That means equities have given negative return for last 1 year. But at the same time, if I look at gold, it has given positive returns of more than 30%. And if I look at some of the debt side, that is fixed income side, which we call it, that has actually given 7 to 8% kind of a return. That clearly, I mean, if I go back, say 2018, this particular equation was entirely reversed. The equities were giving you 30 to 40% of positive return. Debt side was almost closer to, I mean, a little higher of FDs, and gold was actually stale. I mean, it was not giving any return at all. So that actually proves that your diversification has to be in negatively correlated asset classes. Negatively correlated asset classes means, because market cycles are inevitable. It has to come. It is part and parcel of these financial markets. We cannot remain immune to it. Whether it is global economy or our economy or my personal economy, it is all jointly connected. We cannot be immune. We cannot be in silos. So what we need to understand is that our diversification has to be negatively correlated, so that if one particular asset class is affected by a particular financial cycle, the other asset class, the other instrument can actually make for it. So this is how we need to be diversified in our asset allocation. And definitely many of us are capable of doing it ourselves, but I would still advise that we should have a good financial advisor who can actually do this diversification for us. And the negatively correlated asset classes need to be considered, so that in all the kind of tough times or the micro crisis like this, our money should grow whichever pace it can. So this is the second lesson for the for the investors. The third is investing for life goals. This is something people normally tend to do lots of common mistakes which we have noticed so far. And when we look at the portfolios of most of the people and their statements, we have seen most of the money is very exposed or concentrated, highly concentrated into one particular asset class. Say suppose some people would be having say 50 to 60% money in the real estate, plots, properties. Some people would be having very high concentration into the gold, and some people would be having lots of fixed deposits and bank account, money is lying there. And some of who would be little fancy to markets, they would be putting lots of money into equities and share market. And some people would be getting into the private FDs and bonds. So this particular investing is it's reaction based investing. It is not basically investing. Investing is that you need to define your amount with your life cycles, with your life achievements, with your life objectives. For example, we can give you a little tip here, that if you can divide your money into say 3 baskets, we call it 3 basket of financial planning. 3 basket is, first basket is anything which you need after 7 years, means your life goals are beyond 7 year, 10 year, 15 year, 20 years. So what kind of goals come here? Your retirement comes here, your kids higher education comes here, your kids wedding or anything related to larger expense comes here, where you need some time to gather that kind of corpus or that kind of money. So this third basket, this basket number 1, which is 7 year and above, you need to allocate money accordingly to the relevant asset classes, so that you are not worried about that particular basket, whatever happens in the market. Basket number 2 is the money which is 2 to 3 year or 2 to 5 year. So up to 5 year, 2 to 5 year money has to go into basket number 2, which is nothing but your short-term goals, which we call it. You may be planning to buy a house, you may be planning to buy a car or replace your existing car, or you may be planning to put your kid for a nursery admission, something like that. You need money within next 2 to 3 years or within 5 years. This is your basket number 2, where relevant asset class needs to be picked up and put money there. And the first most important basket is your contingency basket, which is up to 2 years. This is money needed in next 3 months, money needed in next 6 months, or 1 year or 2 years. That kind of money has to be in your first basket, that takes care of your contingency planning, that takes care of your immediate funds requirement, that takes care of your immediate life goals, which is nearing. So this is once you do it, you can actually have a peaceful sleep overnights, because once you know that my long-term retirement, my kids' education, and my kids' higher education and his wedding plan is already in place, and my money is there in the long term, you will not be bothered with this short-term fluctuation. That is very important. And you will put money for a longer term asset class which can generate returns for the longer term. And similarly, short term, there is an asset class which you can put money, so that that this particular asset class or this particular segment is going to take care of this particular requirement. And first basket will definitely take care of your contingency and emergency requirements. So if you are able to allocate funds like this, I mean, first step towards your financial planning is achieved, and you can sigh a relief, get a sigh of relief that your money has been taken care of. Until unless you plan this way, because normally what we have seen, people just come and invest not with any planning or expectation. They just put money basis references or basis whichever they call it. I mean, they follow market or they follow returns. There are a lot of things people do, but investing for life goal actually disciplines your money allocation, and the allocation is done rightly, takes care of lots of problems. Fourth learning, what we have is a mutual fund is there for every need. Once you identify your 3 basket and needs accordingly, because mutual fund gives you the particular solution, particular asset class for that particular time frame. Mutual fund provides you options of even overnight funds, where money is only kept for 1 day, and up to 91 days also there. Your contingency funds that can be placed there, which can be withdrawn anytime, and there is hardly any fluctuation there, and you get a better return than a bank account or a FD. And accordingly, time horizon, whichever is time horizon, up to 2 years, up to 3 years, mutual fund gives you the better option, because you cannot put long-term money into a short-term kind of a fund, or a short-term money into a long-term kind of a fund. So that mixed match should not be taken place. It should not be done accordingly. At the same time, you also need to ensure that when you're planning your investment, you need to take care of your tax planning. What happens in tax planning, that you make your returns more efficient than a poor tax planning. So mutual fund is again a better tool to give you better tax horizon. See, suppose you put money for 3 years into a debt. Can I request the organizer to admin to please put everyone on mute, because some people are talking.
Yes, sir. Please continue. Continue, sir. Hello. Continue, sir.
Yeah. Am I audible now? Am I audible? Yeah.
Yes, continue, sir.
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So, if you put your money into a debt fund, suppose, and that money is kept for 3 years, you will get indexation benefit on that amount, on the capital gains, irrespective of what kind of tax slab you belong to. You have to, adjust your money through whatever was the inflation during that time. So it is also called inflation adjusted return. So that actually gives you, best tax advantage over any of the asset class in that category. At the same time, on equity, if you keep your money for more than 12 months, so you are entitled for a 10% of tax on your capital gain if it exceeds 1 lakh. Over 1 lakh, if you earn from a mutual fund or equity side, you pay 10% tax on that amount, irrespective of your tax slab. At the same time, people who plan for Section 80C, which gives you 1.5 lakh, provision that you can invest in there and get the tax exemption. So Section 80C, there is a type of mutual fund ELSS, that is equity linked savings scheme, that comes with 3-year, locking. That is again, the bare minimum locking period for a tax saving instrument. That also gives you tax efficient returns over a period of time. So you can actually plan your investments through mutual fund and allocate money according to your timelines, your time horizon, and your needs. So this is, learning number 4, that you need to plan it accordingly. And there is a mutual fund scheme to actually address that particular need. And the next, my PPT is not going through. One second, I need to actually share it again, then only it will come back. One second. So the next learning is, control your emotions, because, there are 2 types of emotions, or we call it behavioral biases. One is cognitive, another one is emotions. So emotional biases is basically, that is run by your gut feeling or your instant reaction to the situation. For example, one is that risk aversion. Risk aversion is like, sometimes you hear that a plane is crashed, so you avoid going by plane for some time. A train accident, you avoid going by a train accident. Market fall, you avoid going to market and, invest in the share market because there is a fall. So you immediately you actually want to save you.
Sir.
Hello? Yes?
Sorry, sir. Sir, we have very short time. So if you conclude your presentation within 1 or 2 minutes, so we can invite our another guest, Surkanji.
I have taken how much time so far?
Sir, we have very short time.
Okay.
Sir,
I have 2 minutes, right?
Minutes, if you conclude, that would be better.
I will try to finish in 2 minutes.
Sir.
Should I begin?
Sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
so I will only talk about 3 emotions. I will not talk about others. The 3 emotions is risk aversion, that I would like to protect everything. And for that, I want to take, I want to put money into nominal rates, instruments, just to, avoid any exposure, so that, I want to protect my money against anything. So that is, risk aversion bias, which we have. And then we also have, overconfidence bias. Sometimes we think that whatever decision we are taking, that is right. So that is also run by the intuition, run by the basic guts of any individual. And third bias is, regret aversion, because regret aversion is that I avoid taking any decision, any important decision, in the, expectation that it may fail and, I have to regret my decision later. So in that bias, we actually, tend to defer our decision and we don't take an important decision. So this is, the conclusion that we need to take. We need to actually control our emotions. And I think this is not moving. One second. And I conclude with, one more slide. I guess this is important. Give me please 1 more second. And then we can conclude and we can have the another speaker. So, as I was telling you, that this is 4-step financial planning for all of you. You need to start from the bottom, not from the top. First level is basic contingency fund, where you need to keep money for up to 6 months to 1 year. Your monthly expenses should be kept in a bank savings account or a liquid fund, so that you can get money whenever you want. you need to have 10 to 12 times of your annual income as your term insurance, because after you, your dependents should be taken care of financially. And third level is that third window, as I said, that you need to plan your short-term goals and plan it and put money accordingly. And fourth important thing is that your retirement planning, your kids' education, your kids' wedding, is where you need large money. You need to plan it accordingly. So this is what the step to basic financial planning. And with that, I thank you all and conclude my session. Thank you so much.